It's crazy to think that it's been nearly 20 years since Ford introduced the Little Escape to America back in 2001. And since then, this has obviously become the company's most popular model. I'm at the 2019 New York International Auto Show, and this is the all-new fourth generation 2020 Escape. Let's take a first look. So if you look at the design of the all-new 2020 Escape, you're going to notice that Ford went a completely different direction from its main competitor Toyota with the RAV4, or even the previous generation Escape. Instead of making it look a little bit more like a truck, they've gone in a completely car-like route. And I suspect they did that because they got rid of all of their cars except for the Mustang here in America. Now you can see the front fascia has a look that Ford says tries to mimic the current generation Mustang with this grille that's kind of down here at the lower fascia. These headlights kind of remind me of the old Ford C-Max plug-in hybrid, which isn't available anymore. You will get LED headlights on the upper trims. This particular one here is the new plug-in hybrid model. I'm just not entirely sure I like the design of the car. I thought I would like it more in person, so feel free to let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Some of you have told me that it looks like a Kia with even like a Porsche Macan in terms of the silhouette, so it's definitely an interesting look. You need to see the car in person. Now underneath the hood, which I can't open the hood of this one, Ford is launching the all-new Escape with 4 different powertrain options. The base model will be a 1.5 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder with 180 horsepower. The up-level versions will have a 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder with 250 horsepower. That motor is shared with the all-new Lincoln Corsair. And then the hybrid Escape is now back. We haven't seen a hybrid in a few years, almost 10 years now. This one here is the new plug-in hybrid version, and Ford says it'll go a little over 30 miles in terms of the range and take about 3.5 hours to charge if you guys are on a level 2. The plug-in hybrid version is only available with front-wheel drive. Front or all-wheel drive will be available on all models, and an 8-speed transmission will be on the gas models, a CVT on the hybrid versions. Now, in terms of the actual size of the new Escape, Ford made it only about 0.6 inches longer and about 1.5 inches longer versus the previous generation. Its wheelbase at 106.7 and an overall length of a little over 180 inches is actually a little bit smaller than most of the competition. Your only real indication that this is a plug-in will be that little charge door right there where you can open that up to plug the vehicle in. The wheels also are unique to the plug-in model. They look a little bit too small for my taste. They're about an 18-inch wheel. They're probably there for aerodynamic reasons. Now the rest of the profile, this car looks a lot more like a hatchback, which again kind of confuses me. It looks like it sits lower and wider, Ford says, versus the previous model. And again, I'm just not sure I'm quite in love with the design. The new Lincoln Corsair has a much more interesting shape to it, but I'm glad to see that Ford has gone a completely different route with the design. You won't be mistaking either vehicle for riding on the same platform. Now at the back, you can see a completely different look, which kind of mimics some of the design influence we've seen on the all-new next generation Focus, which isn't available here in America. You can see there's a subtle plug-in hybrid badge. You've got an LED combination rear taillight, and surprisingly, even the plug-in hybrid has dual rear chrome exhaust tips that definitely make it look a little bit more sporty. Usually hybrid models, they don't give you that kind of actual feature. Now in terms of the cargo area, you can see the plug-in model has no effect in the actual trunk space because Ford has repositioned the batteries. And Ford says that this is the best in class in terms of rear seat cargo area. If you actually slide the seats forward, the second row seats forward, you get around 37.5 cubic feet of space, which is a pretty good amount. That's usually about 5 more than what you get in most of the competition. If you fold down the rear seats, Ford says you get around 65 cubic feet of space, which is about 5 to 10 cubic feet less than some of the top competitors. So good cargo space, but you should know that this cargo area is about 10 cubic feet larger than its platform weight, the Lincoln Corsair. So on the inside of the all-new 2020 Ford Escape, well, I'm glad to say that Ford has gone a completely different direction versus the previous generation. They've really embraced those tablet-style screens, but unlike the new Explorer, this is a much more reasonable 8 inches. So instead of that big 12-inch display that kind of jets out like an iPod tablet. Now, a couple of new features. This is the first vehicle to get the Ford Pass Connect, which basically, if you guys have your smartphone on you, you can use the smartphone to start the vehicle, to unlock it, lock it. So it's kind of like what Tesla's going. That's kind of the norm. A lot of manufacturers are introducing your smartphone as the ability to use the key. Now, in terms of the rest of the materials, you can see the dashboard is a soft touch injection molded plastic. There's some unconvincing silver painted plastic here that tries to look like aluminum. This is also soft touch. I like the design of the dashboard here with the tablet style display. The door panels are also soft touch with more of that fake silver painted plastic. And overall, the interior, while it is nice looking, there's a certain cheapness vibe to it that I'm just not really liking. Perhaps it's just too dark in here. I would have liked to see a little bit more splashes of color. There's an interesting textured material here on the center console. This controls the new 8-speed automatic transmission with an electronic parking brake. There's several buttons over here where you can adjust the EV mode, where it would run on EV now or EV later, where you could save the battery charge. The steering wheel, as you can see, is tilt telescoping adjustment. There's no paddle shifters over here. There's some new switch gear. So overall, it's pretty nice. The car feels a little bit cramped, if I'm being honest. It's a little bit tight feeling for me, even though Ford says that they've increased the space. In terms of the safety gear, you do have their the 8-inch screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay standard. You also have their Ford Copilot 360, which is available. It's not standard, but you do have automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, but if you want like their full speed adaptive cruise control, you're gonna have to pay extra for that. Now let me hop into the back seat and see how the space compares, because Ford says the space is, again, one of the best in class. So hopping into the back seat of this model, because this is the #1 choice for family vehicles nowadays, you can see Ford focused a lot on giving you more space back here, but shutting the door itself is made of a hard touch plastic material that is definitely a downgrade versus the front seats. This is kind of where I was saying it felt a little bit cheap. It's definitely echoed in the back seat here, but I'm happy to report the space is nice. You can see Ford says there's around 37 inches of legroom, almost nearly flat floor. You have a power outlet over here, you have rear seat air vents, but no heated rear seats in the second row, and you do have an armrest that folds down over here to give you 2 cup holders. And like I said, the seats also slide forward and back. They also recline. So it's honestly a pretty nice place to spend time back here, especially if you're actually planning to put like a child seat and whatnot. But Ford says the new Escape should go on sale by the end of this year with no pricing yet announced. I'm imagining it's going to start right in the low $20,000 range, which is kind of where the current model is. This plug-in hybrid model, I'm going to estimate, is going to be in the $40,000 range easily before you factor in any kind of government incentives. For Redline Reviews at the 2019 New York International Auto Show, I'm Sofian Bey.